Yeah. Would you please introduce yourself?
Awesome. Cool. So my name is Eduardo and I'm originally from Mexico. I am currently actually here in Mexico since, this whole thing of the pandemic started. And I'm literally right now, I'm focusing on working on my business, which is an online business as well. And it all pretty much focuses on actually creating that location independence. I've had the chance to, over the last 10 years, to travel and to live in many different countries. One of those countries, Japan included, it was literally my first country, the first country where I spent a very long time, which was a year. It was like a long period of time. And that was literally the change. And that was what shifted my mind to start thinking in a more global sense, because I was so used to, of course, living in my country, doing things the way that, our country tells us to do things. And me going to Japan in that first experience as an exchange student, being in a high school, was the only foreigner there. And that was the change that created, it was something inside my mind, like an identity shift. And that helped me understand that there was something beyond my country and something, beyond the borders that we know, the reality that we understand. And literally since that point onwards, everything in my life completely moved. It was like a 180-degree shift from me to thinking everything about Mexico into thinking, well, there's so many things out there and I want to keep on trying and learning and growing. And it went on for the next 10 years. It's already almost years now, 11 years. But since that time, I was able to live in Malaysia and in China, in other few countries, and learning the languages there, integrating, really immersing into the culture. And that was literally the beginning of what I called the true globalization and true global citizenship, being able to have access to all these things in these countries. So that's a little bit about me.
Interesting. I want to make it deeper because you started like studying abroad, right, in Japan, as a first step, right?
Yeah. I had traveled to a couple of places before, just visiting visiting the places or the countries, but never really living before in a country for a long period of time. And so that was my first experience where it was long term. And I always, I tell people that now I understand it. I look back and I see and I understand that we as travelers, we have this urge inside. We want to grow. We want to be able to see the world. And a lot of the times we get stuck with the idea that it has to be in a certain way, that we have to fit inside one box, or we have to fit inside one way of doing things. And a lot of times we get so stubborn into that with that idea that we don't really pursue the way of evolving into who we want to evolve. And for me, what I call travel evolution is something that happened in the last 10 years, and that's literally the change of me growing and becoming a different person, but yet keeping and remaining that travel urge. So for me, what started was like being a tourist, right? And then eventually I became an exchange student. So I was able to live in a different country, but study there and kind of feel certain things. Then from there, I was like, you know what, I want to go further and deeper into the traveling. So I became a backpacker, right? And then, so for me, it was like, I'm going to go all in with traveling. I don't have the money, but I want to travel. So I went all in and I became a hardcore, diehard backpacker. So I was broke. I had my big beard, was, carrying 2 backpacks, and just, it's fine. Yeah. But that's one of the problems. We get stuck in the ideas, and sometimes we don't want to move from that thing. And that happened with me as well. I got stuck with that idea of being a hardcore backpacker and a hardcore, just going all in with the travel, but then putting money and business growth and personal growth aside for some aspects in my life. And I neglected them until I started understanding that it was just about much more. You can keep your global desire and your global urge, right? That idea of wanting to travel and see the world, and you don't have to quit on your business, or you don't have to quit on the idea of you having a fulfilling life from other areas. So that's for me the transition, from backpacker to expat, actually working, having a job in China, and then seeing that I could travel a little bit slower, and maybe have a little bit more money, right? So it was the beginning of me finding that balance. It was like, oh, travel all in, and then money, no money, right? I was like, okay, maybe I can travel a little bit less, but still have that globality, and then have a little bit more money. And then from being an expat, I quit my job, and I thought, I don't want to have a job. I want to do my own thing, right? And so then I started doing like freelancing and different types of things all around, like sales, and trying to do sales processes, everything that related to something online. And so it was like a little step more, furthermore to be balanced. And so that's when I transitioned to try the digital nomad lifestyle. And then eventually I realized that for me, the last part of it, through all this evolution, for me was to figure out that there's a way where you can truly have a business. You can actually have the traveling and that side of seeing things around the world all together in a balanced way, in harmony, in a way that it's not broken. You don't go choose one over the other, but actually have both at the same time. And that was when I came across this idea and this realization of I can have a business and I can run it from one country, and I can have it, it's online, but I can maybe spend some time here, but I can make money in this currency. And then I can have a bank account there, and I can have a passport from this country. And for me, that was like literally the explosion in my mind, and thinking that is global citizenship. We can truly have everything in life in every single country. There's one country out there that has what you want in life. And so your areas, all the areas of your life, you can use those, you can globalize them, and you don't have to stick for what it is that your one country has to offer. And so that was literally the birth of what I call nowadays, I call it nomad entrepreneur. So it's a nomad has that aspect, that freedom, that mobility, that independence. And at the same time, you have the entrepreneurial side, the capitalist side, the side where you know that you can have the best of both worlds. You can have money and properties, passports, everything that you want all together in one. So that's why I resonate so much with the Samurai Packer.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
That's why I like it.
Yeah, I like your own ideas. Actually, I really understand. Also, agree with your particular, probably, I don't know, philosophy. I think that you have. So, like you actually mentioned your passion toward traveling, right? So, I think you're really passionate about it, probably from the young age. So, it like, what do you actually dream of, like for the next step, for the next future? Like, what do you think about that? Because you already know a lot of countries, and you spent so much struggling and find out the philosophy that you have had. So right now, what do you dream of?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because it really connects and it goes back to what we've been talking about so far. For me, it literally, the traveling was always a nice thing to do, but I really got to a point. Eventually, I got to a point. It was about two, almost 3 years now that, I got to the point where I thought traveling is great. Traveling is cool. You can get to meet people. It's a very nice experience, but I don't understand what this will help me, or how will this help me in the future, so that I can not have to quit on some of the things that I want in life. Because I want my dream at that point was, I want to travel forever, and I don't care about anything else, right? I was literally die hard. So I was all in traveling, and I thought, what, money, I don't like money. I hated money is bad, and I don't like this, that is bad, right? All I want to do is travel. And so I was, I kept my walls, and I was so stubborn with that. And my dream at that point was to literally just keep on traveling and traveling, so that I felt that freedom. And I knew that, I wasn't being a slave to an idea or to a concept or to maybe material things and things like that. And with that evolution that I talked about, I think my dream really changed in the way that, to the extent of where the moment where I was able to connect the dots and think, oh, traveling is not the goal. Traveling is cool, and I can take pictures and I can see the countries and meet people. But if I see that as the ultimate goal, then how can there be anything beyond traveling, right? Like that, if that was the last thing, the end goal, then there wouldn't be anything beyond it. And I don't, even if I like traveling, and even if I enjoy it, I know that there's more in my life that I want, right? So it was incongruent. There was something that didn't match correctly, and for me to realize that I was able to have the capacity to go to a different country and not only treat it like a place of leisure, like a place of a holiday or a vacation, but actually use that country to grow my business and to grow my life, to grow all the areas of my life, so that every country I go to, I can find new opportunities. I find, maybe a new language that I want to speak. I create networks and I meet people, maybe important people from that country that can help me grow in my areas, right? Friends in social aspects, spiritually speaking as well. How can we create something that gives us deeper purpose? And so all these areas, there's 7 areas in your life, but all these 7 areas, and I will talk about them later, but these 7 areas, they're literally the moment where I was able to understand that every country has something, where they're good at. They have something that they can provide to your life. Right. That's the moment where the traveling became not the goal, but the medium. Now traveling became the way. And I know that through traveling, I could do so much more, because me, as going to the place and making it like a global quest, I was able to find opportunities and to find people and maybe things that my country doesn't provide, right? And so my ultimate dream and my ultimate goal is to create a true global empire where I am the best version of myself, because it's both ways, right? One is about the internal, the other one is about the external. There's a lot of great things that I could do out there, but all of that parts from me shifting and becoming the best version of myself. If I don't keep on growing and upgrading myself and upgrading my lifestyle and really having access to these things so I can keep evolving and changing, then I get stuck. But if I do, then that will allow me to find things out there in countries and actually create the lifestyle that I want to create, right? So I want to have like homes in different countries, right? I want to have multiple passports. I want to keep on impacting people's lives and go to different countries and have workshops and seminars and help people just like you are, literally just like you are, Kohe, like help other people have their business, be able to unlock their potential, to be happy with what they are doing, to do something out of their passion and have profit, and to also become global citizens. I think that is my ultimate goal as my mission. Not even about me, who I want to become, not even about what I want to have, but the amounts of people and what I want to be able to contribute in this world. Because the day that I'm gone, my actions and my ideas and everything is dead, right? Right. But if I can leave just a little tiny piece of something in someone's life, just one shift, just one idea for them to become better, I think I'm fulfilled with that. That's probably my ultimate goal.
I love it. Oh yeah, so thank you so much for sharing your dream. Then so right now you've actually set the goal and you kind of made sure what's gonna do, right? So but before you decided like how to start the business and also the make sure globalization by yourself, but you had lots of struggles, I think. So what made you change your mind? Like what kind of experiences have you experienced before like realizing what you're gonna do?
There's probably one experience that literally, that struggle that I had that allowed me to change the way that I was thinking. It's funny, because whenever I tell people about my experience in Japan, I always say that for me, going to Japan was like an eye-opening experience, right? It was like my rebirth, or like the time that I felt like I was being born again, because I could see the world in different eyes. And that was the main one shift that allowed me to start seeing the world in the way that I see it today. But since that time until the point where I had, I came across this wall, and I realized that not everything is as I thought. Just like as I was saying, right, that I was so stubborn in me, thinking that I had to neglect money, or like that money was bad. So I was putting that aside, and I was just traveling, but I didn't have a mission, right? I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have a real reason to connect all these things that I was doing. And for me, literally the life, this changing experience, I think, was the fact that I had, and I say I had because I probably had no choice, but I was going through depression. Because a lot of people believe, when you see the surface level, and where you see the pictures, and when you see social media and all these things, everyone believes that it's easy, right? Everyone believes that you're lucky, that you had it all figured out. And what a lot of people don't see is that there is so many challenges beyond what people see as that success.
Right.
And whenever someone told me, "Oh, you're so lucky, right? Oh, it's so easy for you because you're Eduardo," it kind of made me angry, because I was thinking, I am just as you. I am just like you.
Yeah.
And if I can do it, you can do it too. And literally going through depression, that was a phase of my life. It was a pretty dark phase where everything pretty much started falling apart. Like what I was thinking about, well, traveling is everything, and I don't care about anything beyond traveling. And then all of a sudden, everything kind of starts ripping apart, falling apart, and all my ideas became doubts. And I was like, really, is this really what I want to do? Do I want to travel forever?
Yeah.
Is it do I have to quit on having a business at home or somewhere because I want to travel? Do I have to be a broke traveler forever? Or what are my options? So I came across all these questions, and I was just it was so like a moment of unclarity. Like you start doubting everything, right? And I think one of the main reasons is there's so many things, maybe details, right, that all of them together eventually become this like drop in the water that drips. Like it's like that one thing that changes everything, right? But of course there's so much beyond and so much behind. And for me, one of the things that was really struggling, that I really struggled with, was being myself, with my family, because I was seeing something else out there, like a new reality. And then I come back home and I don't feel understood, and I feel like, they don't understand what I feel, what I think, or the new reality that I see.
Right.
And it was a clash of these two ideas and these two realities. And so eventually what happened is I stopped talking to my parents. Like I said, you know what, I'm so sick and tired of having this relationship. It's so exhausting for me because I can't be myself with them. And so, you know what, I'm just gonna keep them out of my life. And that was the decision that I made, that then started shifting me towards that depression, because I was sad, and I felt so powerless by the fact that I couldn't be with my own family and be myself at the same time. And so, long story short, one of the memories that really, really reminds me of these struggles and the things that I had to face before making this shift was every time that I was leaving, every time that I came visit Mexico, because since Japan, I was doing it over and over again, right? I studied my university abroad, and I just kept on going and then coming back and visit, and then going again for a year and a half or 2 years, and then coming back and visit, right? And so every time I came back and visited all my family members, my grandfather particularly, he was always there to pick me up at the airport, right? And always there to leave me at the airport, like drop me when I was taking my flight again and leaving to the next country. And one of the things that was so hard for me every single time was that literally every single time that I was leaving, every single time my grandfather was asking me, "Are you happy? Are you sure you want to do this? Because if you don't, it's okay to stay, and it's okay to come back." He was always telling me this thing. And for me, my grandfather was literally like my father. He was pretty much my father for a long time while I was growing up. And so, having this connection with him,
Question. It's simple.
let me tell you, Kohei, it was so hard. Imagine like that one person that you care about the most, and that person asking you, are you happy out there? And I started feeling this guilt, saying, if I say that I'm happy, I don't want him to feel that I'm happy without him. But if I say that I'm not happy, he's gonna think that this that I'm doing is not worth it.
Yeah.
And so I should go back home. And I was, that was literally like, it was this weight in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, that every single day it was so hard for me to accept it, because I knew that I was happy doing what I want to do. But at the same time, I couldn't accept it. I couldn't let him know. Because if I did, right, it was like making him feel bad about it. And so that was what, that this thing is still in my mind. And he eventually passed away. He died, and I wasn't there. I was not in Mexico at the time that he died. And so for me, that was a very difficult stage.
Yeah.
And given the experience, the only thing that I told myself was, you know what? If I'm going to do this, if I'm really going to do this, and I'm really going to go and decide to live a global lifestyle, decide to live everywhere around the world, and pursue this idea of mine, I have to make it worth it. Because I wasn't there when my father was there, I decided to take the step and actually go all in on this thing. So now there's no turning back. Because if I go back, for me, it's all worthless.
Right.
There's no meaning for that. And so that was literally, I think this experience was one of the experiences that changed the way that I thought, and the way that I saw all this, idea of globalization. Me having to have a deeper purpose, me having to really find a true reason for me to do it. And that's when I understood that it is not only about me, but about, the people that I can help as well. So that's the moment where instead of being just me,
that's very profound,
and about me, it became about, helping others not feel the same way, not suffer the same way. That is literally it.
That's really, I don't know, heartbreaking moment, that you experienced before. So yeah, but you said you experienced some struggles, right, with the parents and relationship as well.
Yeah.
Like how, like you think about the balance between traveling and then businesses, right, in order to make a good relationship and also make you keep happiness, right? So and then what, so if you young people, especially like university students or 20 something, so like what would you give them advice for being a digital nomad or being an entrepreneur, in order to make them keep happy? Some people wanted to do what they want, like you, like traveling, just traveling, and we want to see the world, right? But some, those people might go into deeper depression, I guess. So why would you give them a piece of advice for like being an entrepreneur, like truly with the true happiness? What would you give them?
I think it all comes down to being aligned with yourself.
Okay.
Think about it. When we are in conflict with ourselves, it's because a lot of the times our mind says that we want to do something, or we should do something, but our heart is telling us that we want to do something else, right? So it's like, I want to travel, but I should blah blah blah. Oh, I want to do this, but I should da da da. And it's this constant conflict that we have within ourselves. It's not even out there. Part of it, of course, is because we learn to think the ways that society has told us, right? But in the end of the day, when we are not in alignment with ourselves, with what we want and what we want to do and what we feel like we should do as well, that is where the real conflict begins. Because as I was telling you, for me, the greatest conflict with my family was I cannot be myself. because I wanted to be the weird person who listens to Japanese music, and right, and maybe my brother or whoever is like, oh, why would you listen to that shit, right? And so it's a disconnect of me feeling like I can't do what I want, although I want to do this. And so when you keep yourself back and you don't pursue this thing, that is where the real conflict begins. And so what I believe is, no matter which stage, or maybe in that, that evolution, whether you were a student, whether you're a university student, whether you're an exchange student, or you're an expat, or you're at home, you want to be able to travel, become a digital nomad, or whatever it is that you want to pursue, I think you have to understand, you have to be aligned with yourself, and you have to understand pretty much three things. Okay. The first thing that you would have to understand, let's start like this. The first thing that you have to understand is what you really want, regardless of what you should do, right? What you truly want, what it is that you want, not someone else, not someone else's life, but actually you. Second one, why do you want it? What's the reason, the motivator, the drive? Right. What is the reason behind it? And the third one would be, how can you do it, right? Because the how, when you have a true strong why, then you can figure out the how. Right. So it's I'm just gonna say it again. It's the what you want, why you want it, and how you can achieve it, right? But a lot of people just jump into the how. Right. Oh, traveling looks cool, and being a digital nomad looks cool. Right. So that's the how. But if you don't know what you want, then maybe that's not even what you want to do. And if you don't know why you want it, maybe that's not even aligned with what you want, right? So you got to ask yourself these three questions. Okay. And your what will give you vision, your why will give you ambition, okay, and your how will become your mission. These are the three things. And if you can ask yourself that, then that is when you're able to find the right thing for you. Because, right, I can tell you that this thing is the best or that thing is the best, but it really all parts from who you are. You are different than me. I am different than you. Yep. And so when you follow that framework, then you can answer the thing that's right for you instead of for everyone else, right? So I think that would be one of the best advices that I can give anyone. You could do whatever you want, but never forget to be yourself, to be aligned with yourself and what you want and your reason why you want it, and then pursue, of course, how you can make it happen.
I see. So yeah, you mentioned three things, like how, why, what, right? So then like that's really important, I think. But for example, like if you already know like what you want to do and why they want to do, but some people might not know how, especially. So in this case, particularly being the digital nomad, like, so if you're young and then they all already know the purpose or why, and also like where they want to be, so what would you recommend, like from scratch, to start their own business by yourself?
Okay. And I think it all comes back to this one thing that we're talking about, right? Because when you answer these three things, a lot of the things just kind of start falling into the right place. Now, when you have a true, clear what and why, then of course you can find the how. Now, I'm not saying that if you can't find the how, it's because you don't have a clear what or why, right? But okay, a lot of the times it may be hard to find the right way for you because there's so much noise out there, right? There's so much information, so many ways of doing things, right? And that is what I mean. Because when it comes to making money, let's say talking about making money, I mean, have you seen how many posts or comments or things people are writing in Facebook groups or just overall, and they say like, what is the fastest way to make money, right? So they're looking for the how, but they don't, at that point, they don't understand what and why, right? Because if I say,
right, sure,
do you want to make $10,000 a month? Yes, cool. Do you want to make your own products? No. Oh, then I got the perfect how for you. Right? So it's like you ask yourself a couple of questions first, and then from there, that's when you are able to find out the best how. So it's like me, for example, let's say I don't want to travel that fast anymore.
Okay.
I want to travel slower. Okay, cool. That is my what, right? And then my why is because when I travel slower, I am able to connect and to immerse into the culture deeper. I'm able to learn the language, to meet people, to create true, real networks in the country and friends. I'm also able to see the country as local, not as a tourist. And therefore, I have access to a lot of the things that the country offers that the tourists don't have access to. Right? So I'm there with my what, travel slower. I'm there with my why. And then my how would be, okay, then if I want to travel slower, because I know that will give me an edge and an advantage for me to integrate into those countries, then how do I do that? Cool. There's this thing called travel dimensions. I call it Travel LSD. So LSD stands for length, speed, and depth.
Okay.
Right. So I could ask you like, oh, what's your travel LSD? Well, I travel for a long or short time. I travel fast or slow, or I travel as a tourist, or maybe I actually integrate and immerse to the culture. How shallow or deep you travel into the culture. So these are the dimensions, LSD, right? The only thing that people talk about or believe that there is a dimension about is travel cheaper. But you don't necessarily have to travel cheap to be able to travel deep, right? There's so many ways to untangle these things, but finding the how comes back to understanding the what and the why, right? So, and what I'm saying is you have to look at your own specific scenario, your own case, the things that you want, or the things that you don't want, right? Because if I say, well, Nomad, no, you should be an entrepreneur, and then you say, yeah, but I don't want to be working so like too much for because having a business is also a lot of hard work,
right?
And if you don't want to do that, and I say, yeah, become an entrepreneur, and then you try to become an entrepreneur, then you fail, and you're gonna say, oh, entrepreneurship is bullshit, right? Or you say, oh, like whatever it is, affiliate marketing doesn't work. Oh, this thing doesn't work. While in fact, maybe the thing itself can work, but it just doesn't work for you, right?
I see.
So whether you are, that is the point where you start. You have to go backwards. Literally, that is the thing that I tell every single person. Nobody likes to hear it, Jorge, but
yeah,
everyone has to hear that. Like, I know so many people out there that today they are already living around the world. They are already digital nomads or entrepreneur, location independent entrepreneurs. And when I ask why are they doing that thing, or how is it that they're doing that thing, and then I look back, into the what exactly is it that you want? Oh, well, I wanted to do this, but I don't really, I wasn't able to find another way. Then that's when you find that these three things are not aligned, right? Like, oh, I suffer so much. Like, it's so hard to keep my business going. And then you ask, why did you want to start a business? You go one question back. Why is it that you want to start a business? Oh, because I want more time. Well, bad news, my friend. Having a business takes a lot of time as well, probably more time than a job, right? And you say, well, I didn't want to have a boss anymore. Oh, my boss is always telling me what to do. Cool. Can you handle you doing the things that when nobody tells you to do things, can you actually do them for yourself? Or do you have to have somebody else poking you behind, right? Because if you do things for the wrong reasons, then of course, things won't work out in the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, awesome answer. I hasn't actually. So yeah, most people focus on how, right? And they just want the method of being free and being entrepreneur or being, digital nomad, right? But
Yeah.
if you make it deeper, you have to consider how, not how, like, but also why, especially. I understand.
Yeah, the what and the why. Because here's a funny thing. A lot of people see the how and think that is the what.
Right.
So we're talking about traveling, right? And I told you in the beginning,
Mhm.
I came to the conclusion that traveling is not the goal, right? So when people think that traveling is the goal, they think, oh, I want to be traveling around the world and just chill and maybe work from the beach.
Yeah.
They believe that's their what they want, right? And then I ask, why do you want it? Oh, because it's so cool, or because I don't like being at home, or because I don't want to have a boring job, right? So to begin with, the how becomes the what, and then the why is broken because these reasons aren't strong enough in their will. It's not something that drives them. And instead of thinking, well, it happens a lot. One of the examples I can use is languages, because a lot of people always ask me, how do you learn Russian? Let's say, how did you learn Russian,
Mhm.
right? And I ask them, why do you want to learn? Oh, because I want to speak. And I'm like, really? Really? I'm like, no. Let me ask you again, but why do you want to speak? I try to dig deeper.
I understand.
And a lot of the times I have to ask this question like at least 5 times. I say, why do you want to learn Russian? Oh, because like I want to speak Russian. I'm like, okay, why do you want to speak Russian? Oh, because like I'm interested about Russian culture. Oh, cool. And why are you interested about Russian culture? Oh, because I like Dostoevsky. Oh, okay, so you like reading this guy. Cool. And why do you like reading Dostoevsky? Oh, because when I was small, my grandmother once showed me a book from this guy, and she always told me great stories about it. Ah, nice. So now we're digging deep into the why. And your reason to learn Russian is not to speak it, but to actually be able to understand and connect with the stories that your grandma told you. And so all of a sudden, instead of, it's like you're here and this is learning language, right? Like you want to learn the language and you're like, I want to learn the language. But if that is the end goal, then it's so hard to get to that goal because there's nothing beyond it. And so if you think, instead of, I want to learn the language, and say, I want to understand what my grandmother used to tell me, which is here, and learning the language is the way that will get me there, then all of a sudden, instead of being here, the goal just became slightly closer. Right? Because now it's not about, oh, I want to learn the language because I want to learn the language. Is I want to do this, and therefore learning the language is the way. And so that is why I always dig so deep in people, with a question, and particularly with people who want to become nomad entrepreneurs and who want to live around the world. I say, great, you want to live and you want to have freedom. Yes, but why? Oh, because I know that there's so many things out there that maybe give me something that I don't have at home. Why? And then, you just keep on digging deeper and you say, oh, now I see. So if I go to a new country, I'm not just going to chill and relax and maybe save money because it's cheaper. I'm actually going to do these things that I can do in the country because that will take me to the next level. Right. So it becomes a way, not the goal.
Yeah, I understood totally. Because right now, in my case, the reason why I'm doing this is because I have a purpose, because in my case, my family was agriculture. They engaged agriculture for a long time. So then I had to take over. But I realized that they are really happy. I mean, they seem not happy, honestly, but they love job. But I was so struggling with how I do so. I couldn't support them because I like family, but I don't really want to take over the company.
Yeah.
That's not,
But you have that pressure, right?
yeah.
You think, what should I do?
Yeah.
I don't want to do this, but maybe I should because it's my family, or right?
Yeah, I was
This struggle
with the boss, then thinking about, I like the part of the agricultural style, like it's kind of like free, and they choose the time and place by themselves. That's one of the pieces of what I liked. And also I like globalization, and in my case I imported the products from the Germany and Netherlands. I went there previously, and then I saw so much, sceneries out there, like working abroad and then using different languages, and I was so inspired by those people. So that's why I wanted to create the place where people get educated, like especially focusing on why and what. So they should make sure why first. I realized that, but they don't know how to seek the why. So they don't have so much chances to seek about why if you just work through normal life, right?
Yeah.
So
like the Saturday man.
Yeah, just
Saturday man is the life is yabayo.
So yabayo. So yabayo. So that's why I need to create the place where people realize. So that's why I'm interviewing lots of people, and then make like, how to say, push them to get inspired. Like you have lots of choices, and you can choose the different types of, like stereotypes that the world has. So yeah, but I am struggling with how, especially like how I can do so. But this is just, I think, first step for me, I guess, to interview lots of people around the world. So, but anyway.
I think I just wanted to say that I admire that part of you, because the thing that you're doing and how I personally see entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs is, you become an entrepreneur the day that you decide to get to take responsibility for somebody else's problems. It may have been a problem of yours, but now you as a leader, you're trying to pave the way, try to figure things out. You're there. You have a what, you have a why, and now you're trying to figure out the how. Because you know that once you find the how, you'll able to be 2 or 3 or 5 steps ahead. And once you pave the way, you'll be able to turn back and say, hey guys, I found this thing, this great way to do things, and this amazing thing, right? And I want all of you to come with me, right? That's, for me, that was literally the shift as well, from going from growth to traveling so many years and not understanding what was the whole purpose, to contribution and saying, well, like, I have a mission and I want to go to every single country that I can and transmit and share that with my audience, with my people, with my tribe, so that they can have the same opportunity, right? So whether it is moving away from pain, if they have something, a problem, or something that they're seeking to get out of an uncomfortable solution, or towards pleasure, right? Whether it is, I want to make more money, earn more, live happier, whatever it is, that they're in a good place, but they want to have more. And so either of those directions, you as a leader, you're taking that, that responsibility. And I think that's a very cool thing of you. I really admire that, because I know that, I have the certainty that Samurai Packer will definitely be something of a lot of value and somebody that can truly change lives. So I'm happy that, I'm able to be part of it as well. And of course, in the future, I would love to be part of it as well and help other people in your community.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, there are many actually people who are struggling with. They learn English, and then they are fluent to speak English, but they don't know. Like, they want to use, but they don't know why. So then struggling how to do it. So I want to give them some steps for reaching out to the why, but I don't know how, honestly. So that's what I'm struggling with, and then asking many people around the world, and then providing those information to people, you know, living in Japan. Especially.
You know, there just wanted to tell you one thing that I remember when I was taking a challenge. It was like a challenge online in order to actually, you know, sell whatever it is that you want to sell for people. And one of the challenges, or one of the days in the challenges, said sometimes it's not about the how, but the who, because you know, when you're at that point where you have your what and you have your why, you understand it very clearly, and then the next question you ask yourself is, cool, so I know that I want to do that, and I know that I need it because of this. Now how do I do it, right? And if it's you and you are in this path, you're here, you want to get here, and then you try to move towards that place, and then when you come to the how, you're like, oh, how do I do it? And then you know, we move all around trying to figure out the how, and it keeps us away from getting to that place, right? And so a lot of the times is, okay, I have to do this, I want to do this, I know that I have to because blah blah blah. Now I could find out the how I can do it, like learn how to do this or learn how to do that, or maybe I could find someone who already does that, or someone who's already doing this thing, and then just using that person, right, to get that thing done. So at this point right now, you are using the who across the how. And I know it maybe sounds so overwhelming, you know, for a lot of you guys listening, but it's like there's so many what and why and how, right? But it's like you're going around asking other people how they do it, right? So you're going to many who's, asking the hows, right? To eventually come to your own conclusion of what aligns with you best, what you want and why you want it, and then you come up with your own how. Right?
Nice. Yeah.
So you're searching for the how across the world with many who's, right?
Yes.
And so I know that in this journey, when you come across other people, there's some messages and some ideas you will resonate with, and some of them maybe you'll say, it's cool, but yeah, not for me, right?
Right.
So you start grabbing these things, and then you start creating your own perfect way of doing things.
That's true.
And literally what you're doing is it's the same concept that we're talking about. It's you are doing this for your project. I am doing this for my life, right? So for you, finding these people and finding out the how, for me, is like the countries, right? So I go to country after country after country after country, and I find out what this country has to offer, what this country has to offer, what this country has to offer, and then how they do things here, how they do things here, how they do things here. Great. I love the way that, you know, like let's say in Japan, I love punctuality. I love it. Now in Mexico, man, if you say 7 p.m., they'll show up at 9, right? So which how am I going to take? The one that aligns with my what and with my why. I'm going to take the Japanese how. How do you show up to a place? On time, not on time, right? Japanese, Mexican style. I choose this one, right? Next area of your life, spiritually speaking, emotionally speaking, financially speaking, right? Where can you make more money, or which currency can you charge? If you charge in yen, maybe it's not as best. If you charge in dollar, or maybe because you want to live in Europe, maybe you should charge in euro, right? So this is what I'm telling you. All I want to, you know, help you and all the people who are watching this to understand is the how is figurable. Like, and it sounds very weird for me to say that word, but you can figure things out, right? That's the point. As long as you have clarity on what it is that you want and why you want it, you can figure out the best how or the who for you.
So I want to ask you, so in your case, you made a decision, right? Like with a particular business. So, and then you chose the how and what, like who, right? So are you actually like what the products that you are making actually is for who? Are you thinking?
Yeah. So for me, the who that I'm selling to, or the who I'm actually helping, is probably the same people as you. You know, we are one tribe.
Mhm.
We have the global mindset. We have that urge to have a business, to grow around the world. And for me, it's literally digital nomads, travelers, entrepreneurs, all those who want to be able to merge into this one
Mhm.
amazing version of themselves, which includes both things: the traveling, the mobility, and that actual stability, right? The money. These two things gathered together. Now, for me, the who, in terms of who it is that I can use help from to get to my goals, you know, there's so many who's. There's a who for you know, when I want to do something like, let's say, advertising. If I want to be able to advertise my business through social media, like a platform like Facebook ads, I don't know about Facebook ads.
Okay.
And I could learn Facebook ads, but it'll probably take me a long time.
Mhm.
And me as an entrepreneur, I want to be able to focus on serving my people, right? And serving those who I can help. And so these little nuances, these little things, I can find someone who already knows how to do Facebook ads, right? So I just find that person who knows how to do what I'm trying to do. Then I get him to do this thing, and then he becomes part of my equation, so that in the end I can actually focus on what it is that I want to create, right?
Mhm.
So maybe in your case you would ask, okay, so I want to do this and this and this and this and this, and I need this and this and this and this. And as one person, maybe you could do it, but you know, maybe you would need, eventually you would need a team, or you would need some support from different things and different, right, different areas.
Mhm.
And that's how you start finding who would be the right person for this thing, who would be the right. And some things maybe you want to do yourself, right?
Yeah.
That is the evaluation of, you know, being an entrepreneur. Why do you want to do it for yourself? What is it that you're going to outsource or delegate or whatever it is?
Mhm.
For me, I know that speaking and doing this type of interviews, nobody else could do them for me, right? Because I know myself better, and I know the message and the mission that I have better than anyone else.
Mhm.
So I want to keep on doing these things, even if I'm busy, and if, you know, when I keep on growing my business, I still want to have time to share my message with people,
Mhm.
right? That's not going to change.
Mhm.
But you know what? Maybe other things, or other details, or the tactics, other, you know, these little things that I have to do to get to where I want to go,
Mhm.
I won't do them all by myself,
Mhm.
right? I will help people to get to that place.
Mhm.
So
I like it. I like it. So, like, for now, we have, I think it's really similar, like, purpose, I guess. I was so
yeah,
surprised about it because you're in Mexico, right? So
yeah.
yeah, what
But
is
my heart is Japanese.
yeah, I guess.
考え方も日本人。
考え方も日本人に似てる。
うん。
I see. I'm so surprised about your own, I don't know, ideas. Which is very similar to Japanese. So so surprised. Yeah, I see. So what, because of the pandemic, you might choose different choices sometimes. So like, do you plan to travel and work abroad, or what do you plan to do from now on?
Yeah, with the current circumstances, you know, I have slowed down right now.
Okay.
And as for now, literally, it is my main focus in two ways: for me to focus on me growing my business, and of course for me to help other people grow their business and build that global foundation. You know, it's all about building the what, and the why, having clarity in those two things, and then eventually finding out the how.
Yeah.
And so instead of me traveling right now, with, you know, there's so much crazy things happening around the world, but I think literally this is the best time that we can look back, and instead of trying to jump, right, and try to do all these things at once without having a global foundation, without having a plan, without having that clarity, that purpose, right now is the time to do these things. And so I myself, of course, I am trying to do this for myself, and at the same time also helping other people, you know, get there. Of course, I want to be able to practice what I preach, right? So I'm doing that, and at the same time, I also want to be able, because it is about the timing, right? Timing is so good, right? Right now is the best time, since we can't be moving around so much, traveling around that much. Now we can look back, sit back, take a step, think, analyze, come with the right why, come with the right what, be able to figure these things out, so that then we can start building something that, the business, whatever it is that fuels our lifestyle, then we can start focusing on that. And then maybe tomorrow, or maybe in a year from now, things kind of reopen up, and then we can start, moving again that much, right? For me, my intention, I didn't intend to stay for so long, right? I came here as a visit last year, and then suddenly the pandemic started, and I've been here ever since. Like, it's literally over a year and a half, right? So it's been a while, and I'm here as for now. And I know certainly the moment where I feel like it's right, then I will move on to the next place. I have a few places, in my list, of course, where I want to be able not to travel, but to live. I want to live in these places. Yeah. I want to learn the languages, right? I want to learn Arabic. I want to learn Farsi. So a couple of places where I want to go and stay for a long time, become a local, learn the language, connect with the culture, see which business opportunities I have there as well, right? And then eventually move to the next place. I think right now is a great time for us to focus on creating that foundation for ourselves.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So basically, if you decided to be a digital nomad and also entrepreneur, you have to monetize, right? So
yeah,
you just a traveler, they broke. I also experienced to be grocery broke to see Asian country, and you know what I mean. So I didn't have a lot of money at the moment, so I was struggling with the places where I stay and food, but I wanted to see the different world and seeking my purpose or something like that. It's just kind of venture, but that was good moment. If you look back, of course, as a part of life, I think you also think about it, but most people should avoid doing so. So like for example, if you wanted to travel and then you want to monetize, what would you consider, and then give a piece of advice to people who want to do, because they have a purpose on the way of traveling.
I really liked how you said that you've experienced that as well. That is literally one of the biggest traps, right, when it comes to evolving and growing and keep on changing. Literally, like you said, I think everyone or anyone who wants to experience that is, it's cool that they can do so. It's great. Like, you don't have money but you want to travel, cool. Find a way to travel, right? But the problem is when they get stuck with that idea of, oh, well, I can keep on traveling even without money, right? So instead of focusing on how can I make money and fuel my travel even more, they're like, well, how can I extend my lifeline for another 6 months? Oh, maybe instead of eating 3 times a day, maybe I can eat 2 times a day, right? Maybe instead of staying at this place, I'm gonna stay at a hostel which has like no beds, right? So we just keep on pushing ourselves towards the scarcity point of view instead of thinking more from the abundant aspect, right? And to answer your question, I say this because I want people to have context and to understand that the way that you think about it will almost immediately shift, right? The questions and the answers that you get. You ask better questions, you'll get better answers, right? If you ask, how can I travel without money? You'll probably be able to find out a way to travel without money, right? How to travel for free, how to travel hack, how to travel on a budget. My advice is, first is to encourage you to start thinking from the abundance side. Instead of thinking, how can I travel hack or travel on a budget or travel for free? Let's start thinking about how can we make more money and travel? How can we, right? How can we do it from the perspective of first getting the money out of the way? If we get the money, that we can have whatever it is that we can focus on that thing better. Because if we are on that lifeline, like, I don't have money, but I want to travel, you're constantly thinking about surviving, right?
Sure.
So it's like, I call it the travel paradox. You're so alive, but you're barely surviving.
Right.
Because you got no money, right? You're just there all broke, trying to go to every single place, but you can barely get by. And so the first thing is to start thinking from that abundance perspective. Stop thinking about how to travel hack or how to travel for free, and start thinking, how can I generate the income and how can I generate more money to get to do the things that I want to do, right? So it begins from there. And again, it literally goes back again to there's 1,000 ways that you can make money. There's 1,000 ways that you can monetize something, right? But there's probably a handful that are good or aligned with what you want and best for you, right? And so for you to be able to monetize something, you truly have to have those two things that we've been talking about. And monetizing, there's so many areas, so many aspects that we could be talking about, fueling that lifestyle, right? Because in the end of the day, that's why I say money and mobility. I never say mobility and money. I always say money and mobility. How can you achieve money and mobility? How can you unlock money and mobility? Because why? Money, when you get the money, that will lead to automatic mobility, right? Money will lead to having the location independence. Money will lead to having that freedom. Money will lead to having time, right? So those things will lead to another goal or something beyond that you want to do. And in terms of monetizing, I think one of the things that we can think about more being more tactic, more about the little things that you could do is, what can you just think about it, right? If you're thinking, what can I monetize? How can I make money? There's normally in business, there's normally three things that you need for a transaction and for a business to be alive, right? You need something to offer, a product, a service, whatever it is that you have. You need to give something right to the market. The second thing is you would need marketing, and you need a message. You need a way to get it out there, in a way to get people in here, right? And the third one is the people, right? Because you can have a way to get people somewhere, but if people didn't exist, you wouldn't have a business, right? So very simple put, you need something to offer, right? You need a reason for people to buy, and you need someone to buy it.
Yep.
Now check this out. This might maybe even more like, think about it. The product or service is a what. You need a what for people. The message and something that will get people to buy is the why.
Right.
And the traffic is the who, right? When we talk about the people, is the who.
Yeah.
And then the monetizing, you could do these three things in many, 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 many different ways. That's when the how comes along once again, right? And so I have a thing I would like to share it with you, and if you want to share it with with your audience and everyone in the community in Samurai Packer, I have something that I call carve your role in the market. So it means how to find your place in the market, right? How to find your place when you're getting started in business. So with these three things, right? It's like, maybe I have something that I want to sell, but I don't know how to, right? I don't have the marketing, and I have some people. Then, what you need and what you can find or what is missing is this part of the equation, right? So it's a very simple like logic. If you have A and B and you need C, how can you go find C? If you have B and C, then how can you find A, right? So we're talking about what is the best way for you to figure out how to monetize it according to your situation. So if you have no product, let's just give you an example. You have no product, a little bit about marketing, and you have maybe an audience or a social media following or whatever it is, right? If you have a large following on social media, maybe you are an influencer, right? Let's just say you're an influencer. You have 1 million followers on Instagram, but you have nothing to sell. One way that you could do it is to find someone else's product, right? And then you promote somebody else's product to your people, and then they buy. This person gives you a commission, right? That is called affiliate marketing.
Right. Affiliate.
Right. Now, if you have your own product or offer, and you have a way that you want to sell it, but you have no people, then you can go out there and find someone who has these people, right? The audience, the social media following, whatever it is, which is literally what I have been doing. I did it for my first business, and I'm doing it right now as well. I'm thinking, who has, right? Because I don't have it. Instead of thinking, how can I have 1 million followers on Instagram? I'm thinking, who has already many followers on Instagram that are my type of people? And how can I get this person to promote my product, right? So that we can add forces, join forces. I have 2 things. He has the third one. Then 2 plus 3, right? Equals the 2 plus 1 equals 3. And then 3 is a perfect number so that I can actually make money, right? And so that is how you figure out the how. I have a sheet where you can, it's like a table, and it explains, if you have this, but you don't have this, this is what you could do. If you have that, but you don't have that, but you have this is what you could do. And so it's kind of like a little playbook that will help you and hopefully help other people as well to figure out, some of the ideas of them monetizing what it is that they want to monetize.
I see. Thank you so much for sharing. That was very awesome. Because, you said that like 2 things. For example, you have 2 things, right? And then you can actually invite a newcomer who actually has a different values that you don't have, but you can like kind of immerse both into one product, or then you can make your money. So if you, for example, if you actually for example, like 20 young age, and then without money and then connection at all, and then you are in a different country, what would you implement? This is a really like ultimate, situation.
Yeah.
You said like it depends on situation, right? So ultimate situation, what would you implement for the first 6 months in order to be entrepreneur?
Okay. So let's do this.
It's running out of time. So
yeah, let's do this as a scenario where someone has none of the 3, right? You have no connections, no people, no nothing, nobody to sell to, right? You have no idea about marketing, no idea about the things, and you have no product, no offer, no service, no nothing, right? So, and you know what? I can actually walk you through, and I'm going to walk you through, of course, as an overview, because it could also be a very long process. But I will walk you through what I did the first time ever that I was able to sell something online, and that is literally like what you're saying right now is exactly what happened, because I had an idea of something that I wanted to sell. I had an idea of something that could be sold on the internet, but I didn't know how to do it. Right. And I also didn't have the people. And so what happened is I came across, I met someone who had similar values just as you and me, and had similar values and similar ideas about something that, could be turned into a project. And so I spoke to that person and I told her, hey, these things, you have this knowledge and you have these things. And I think we can put my knowledge and your knowledge together, and we can try to sell it to other people. And she was like, no way. Like, I don't think it's possible, right? Yeah. She was so skeptical in the beginning.
Right.
And I had seen some things out there, but I never had done it for myself, right? So there was a level of belief. Like I knew, like, I think it's possible, but I'm not sure, right? Because we haven't done it. And so I told her, I really think we can do it, but we have to try things out in a way that is smart, right? Because we don't have all the money, we don't have connections, we don't have the people. How do we do it, right? And so what happened is we started thinking about the idea that we wanted to pursue, right? And we thought, well, we can turn this maybe into a course. Maybe we could try to sell it this way. But it was all knowledge, right? So it was about an experience, something that we knew, something that we had experience with, and we wanted to teach other people how to do it, right? And so we went ahead and we thought, cool, let's say that we were going to sell a course, an online course, right? Okay, cool. So that is the what we want to sell, right? But we don't have it yet. Okay. And now what a lot of people normally do is they try to create the thing, right? They spend months creating the thing, 6 months maybe creating the thing, and then 6 months trying to figure out how to sell it, and then 6 months trying to figure out who to sell it to, right? And so instead of doing that, we did it backwards. We thought, who do we want to sell it to, right? We don't have the people right now, but who do we want to sell it to? Well, we want to sell it to travelers. We want to sell it to people who want to travel more, who are interested in blah, 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 blah. Cool. This is who we want to sell it. Now, what do we want to sell? Cool. We want to sell an online course to help them travel more and blah, 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 right? So we answered those questions. And then we thought, how can we sell it? Right. And then instead of me, again, it all really, I think we wrap this up in a way that it all connects with what we've been talking about. But instead of me trying to figure out, how to do it from scratch, I thought, who is already doing what I want to do? And so I went and I looked and I searched for the people who were doing already what I wanted to do. And I started modeling what they were doing. So instead of me coming up with something and trying to figure it out, I thought, you know what, this person is selling something similar. This person is selling something in a way that I think I can sell it. And I started studying these things along with my partner. So we took literally from the day that we said, you know what, I think we can do something about this, right? We spent maybe around a week trying to figure out what we wanted to sell, how we wanted to sell it, trying to research and study from other people who were already doing it.
Right.
And we're thinking, okay, this guy is doing this. Why? I don't understand, but let's just follow it. Okay, so how are we going to do it? What does that mean for us? We could do this. Okay, in this part, maybe instead of saying this, we will change it to saying that. Cool. Yeah. It applies just for our thing, right? And then the next week, it was 1 week in that we were trying to figure out all the answers, right? Okay. And then the next week we said, instead of trying to figure it all out and build the course and then spend months trying to build it, thinking, how are we going to sell it to the people? We thought, why don't we try to sell it first? And then we create it.
Oh, okay. Right? Interesting.
And so
entrepreneur mindset.
Exactly. And so instead of saying, I'm going to try to, build the course and then figure out how to sell it, I was like, why would I want to spend my time doing something that maybe people don't want to buy?
Yeah.
Right. And so we have the end in mind, we reverse engineer it, and we think, how can we ethically sell the course, right? We being honest, completely honest, sell the course and try it out. And if people want it, then we build it. We said, okay, cool. And so instead of creating the course, we went ahead and only created out of the three things, right? The equation, like the what, the offer, the product, the service, how to sell it, right? And then the people, we went ahead and actually created the how to sell it. So we went ahead and say, how are other people selling their stuff? Oh, this is how they're doing it, right? We modeled it. And the second week, it was the day for, let's say to day 14 to day 7 to day 14. We said, okay, so who are the people, that actually would be interested in this thing? And we started trying to find people online, trying to find people on social media. And we started posting. And, my friend was trying to reach out people and say, hey, I'm having a class next week, and I'm having this thing next week. And I was texting my people and she was texting, her people. So we were trying to gather, maybe a handful of people who would show up to a class that we did, to an online class. And while we were, it was at the same time, right? While we were asking people every single day, at that time, we were still creating the thing that we will use to sell. So we were preparing the class that we wanted to teach people. And then at the end, we would sell. Yeah. And so through that second week, we literally just created the thing that was going to help us sell, the process to sell. And then by the end of the second week, we had everyone show up. I think it was a I think it was 20th of, oh, it was almost, it's tomorrow in 2 years from now already. It was the 20th of October, actually. I think it was the 20th of October that I had this class. And so people showed up, 27 people showed up to this live class. We were teaching for around an hour. And then after that 1 hour, we said, you know what? We have this idea about creating this course. It's not done yet. It's not created, but we want to help you get results faster. We want to help you, of course, learn this, what we've been teaching you for the last hour, in a much, much deeper way and environment. And if you would like to become part of this, and if you are interested, then we will create this course. So, you know, what you could do is, if you want to be part of it, this is how it's going to work. And then we explain, blah, blah, blah. This is how it's going to work. This is how much it's going to cost. And we will have the first module so that you can start the online course in the next month. And literally October 20th of that year, we offered, we said, you know what, this is the price. If you want, pay here. Next thing we know, we start looking at a phone, sale. Whoa, I'm thinking, you know, like, people are buying this thing, right? And so after we got a couple of sales, we thought, you know what, we got money now. Now we have to do the thing, right?
Interesting. Okay.
And so
awesome.
Instead of me trying to do the thing from the beginning, I was like, I have money now. Like now I have to do it. I have no choice, right? And I got to do it quick. And so that is the power of doing this in you know, from a reverse manner, that you can think, what is it that people want and how can I sell it? And then if I sell, if I make money, then I go do the thing. Then I go fulfill. Then I go create the product. Then I go create the service. That is the fastest way that you can take to monetize something. But you sell it ethically. Hey, I have the idea of this thing. It's not created yet. I will create it with you. That way you can tell me what you want. You tell me what you want to learn. You tell me, you know, all your questions, and I'm going to do it with you. If you want it, pay here, right? And then if they pay and if they invest on that thing, then you can go ahead and start creating whatever it is that you sold. That is literally the fastest way, the fastest path to monetization, to begin as an entrepreneur, because you know what, you get money up front, and then you can start buying, you know, paying for the tools, paying for programmers, literally the same thing that we did. You know, I after I got the money, cool. Now I'm going to go create the company. I created the company. You know, I paid for the corporation. I paid for a programmer. I paid for the tools that I needed to deliver the course. I paid for the videos. I paid for everything that I needed to pay, but I had the money now. Right? But if you do it the other way, of course, it's so hard to have the money to pay for all those things because you don't have the money, right? So that is totally the ultimate thing that I would advise people to do. And as I was saying, this is literally something that I'm not making this up. You know, it's not theory. It's literally what I did, you know, the first time ever. Because within 2 weeks, we were able to sell. And within the next month, I was already creating that thing and delivering it to the people. So that's less than 30 days that you can make, you know, cash.
Awesome. That's the process. It's real things and people imitate, I guess. So I think most people who read this article or sounds probably will be peaceful, I guess. So anyway,
hopefully.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And then even though you're so busy, I guess, because you know, work and one entrepreneur, so I'm so glad and appreciating about your time. So
大丈夫だよ。
ありがとうございます。
It's my pleasure.